Well, Razorback fans, welcome to Pod of That Nature post-game. We apologize for our live stream, but as you can imagine, people are pretty hyped up here and a lot of cell phones around, and the internet didn't exactly do us any justice. So we're going to have this post-game reaction up quickly as possible. And guys, and Andrew, you can start off. What did we watch and witness and everything? Like, what was that?
I mean, from the game itself to our live stream attempt afterwards to just the script that it followed, it could not have gone worse for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Couldn't have gone worse for us. We tried to envision a lot of different ways this game could go, how it could go right, how it could go wrong. I don't think any of us had a cruel enough brain to come up with Arkansas having 650 yards of offense and still finding a way to lose. Felt like every swing play in the game went against them. They made so many self-inflicted mistakes that are just hard to overcome. Had chances at the end, had chances all throughout the game. They did plenty of damage. They moved the ball virtually at will, but somehow just didn't make enough plays down the stretch. And one-score games have kind of been the story of the Sam Pittman era. And Mike Gundy, he's been pretty good in these situations, and the more experienced team came out on top here.
Yeah, that's crazy. A one-score game, and I feel so bad for anybody who took that plus 7.5 earlier in the week before the line moved. That's brutal, man. I mean, who would have thought after doing that simulation on Thursday that the actual game would play out worse?
Yeah.
In more just makes you want to puke fashion than that. It's brutal, and it's a tough one too because, man, I just really feel like Arkansas was the better team, especially in the first half. I mean, I tweeted it out there, and I made sure to give myself the caveats of there's a lot of football to be played because you see this all the freaking time with this program. But it was man versus boy out there. I mean, Arkansas absolutely dominated the first half aside from that one play, that one pick six. And you just didn't feel like there was any reason for concern. And then right away in the second half, things start going sideways, but Oklahoma State was still pissing down their leg, up until they finally tied it. I mean, how many times were they getting deep into Arkansas territory, pushed back 15, 20 yards for penalties, having to settle for field goals, and Arkansas just could not seem to take advantage in the second half. And then we had all the weirdness of, muffed punts and missed field goals on both ends, and just a disaster class of a heartbreak in the end, man. Brutal.
I mean, guys, we're getting SEC chants at us. We're getting SEC chants thrown our way.
It's the loudest this crowd has been the entire day, by the way.
Not much emotion. I mean, guys, we're sitting here across the street from the stadium, and so, we had to watch the final plays of that game kind of on our laptop, kind of on a little bit of a delay, and we couldn't tell what was happening in the game because the crowd was so quiet, even in a back-and-forth overtime, thriller. It wasn't one of those things where, Arkansas got overwhelmed by a road environment or anything like that. What was it in the first half? 350 yards to 77, something insane like that.
Yeah, it was insane, and Arkansas still outgains them by 250-ish yards when it's all said and done. I mean, 648 yards. That's a lot. Just unbelievable, man. Taylon Green. It's pretty funny, honestly, because you made the bold prediction. Taylon Green's going to throw for 300 yards, and I was like, I don't know. He's only done that once in 2 years. 416 yards he passes for. It was only 58% completions, but he threw it 45 times. But if your quarterback throws for 416 yards and you have a guy like Jaquindon Jackson who has 149 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, and then you hold Ollie Gordon to 2.9, the Doak Walker Award winner, you hold him under 3 yards per carry, and you lose the damn game? How does this happen? How does this keep happening?
Arkansas had the better quarterback. They were better up front, it felt like. I mean, it felt like there was times in the first half where they were just moving these dudes out of the way. And I felt like their receivers came to play. Andrew Armstrong showed up. Arkansas got a lot of things to go their way. That is a loss that it's just hard to excuse. It's hard to process, and I think that a lot of fans are going to have a hard time coming to terms with how this thing played out.
There's no excuse for this. There's zero excuse for this. There's zero excuse for this way of losing. You lose in one way. You lose because the other team's better. You lose because Oklahoma State's got more talent. You lose because they made plays. That's fine. But the amount of boneheaded, stupid, ignorant, moronic plays that constantly kept getting made, and Oklahoma State was doing everything they could to give this game to Arkansas, and they just didn't. You had a muff punt by Isaiah Satania that puts them in their territory. You had a missed field goal that ended up, still keeping you alive. There is zero excuse for what we saw. Again, no one likes losing, but to lose in that way, is totally and completely unacceptable. Sorry. It's just an unacceptable way to lose this football game, especially because I agree with you, Curtis. Feels like Arkansas was the better team, but man, they made sure that they wanted to screw it up as badly as possible.
It's weird because a lot of the concerns people had coming into the game were about field goal kicking, which kind of reared its ugly head there. Also seemed to almost save Arkansas down the stretch there as Kyle Ramsey sent them to overtime. People had concerns about Taylon Green's accuracy, which, that flared up here and there. People wondered how the defensive backs would fare against those receivers, and those things were factors in the game, but it doesn't feel like the story here. It's not like we found out, hey, Arkansas's got these weaknesses here and there, and that's what's going to keep them from reaching their potential. I don't know what to explain, how Arkansas found a way to have that play out the way it did. And look, Sam Pittman's probably at the press conference right now as we speak, and I don't know how he's going to go about that. I'm sure he's got some tough questions, as they say, coming his way, but I'm having a hard time putting into words how bizarre this game was.
Yeah, it's just it's very frustrating, but honestly, I'm happy that I'm pissed off about this because that means I'm not actually numb to it. Like I thought maybe I would just be numb to this kind of result at this point. The fact that it's got me really ticked off, I think, tells me that one, I mean, care. We all care, obviously, but I feel like it just is a better team than what we saw last year. They have improved in so many areas, and there's you got 10 more games of football left to be played, so we'll see what happens. But damn it, you just hate the good vibes and the momentum. Man, it felt good over in that Arkansas corner of the stadium at halftime, buddy. It felt good. It was almost like a release of a lot of pent-up frustration that these fans have had. And you hate it for the players, too, because they came in confident. They believed that they were better. They did a good job, I think, of blocking out all the noise and the nonsense and saying, hey, this is a new team, new year. And they played hard, man. Like you make mistakes and just shoot yourself in the foot and all that. But dang, man, they played hard. The guys stepped up and made some huge plays. But you just don't get the end result, and it's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for fans. I know it's frustrating for the team. And obviously, it's the same story that we always talk about. Well, how do you respond from here? And just kind of pick up and don't let it hurt the momentum or whatever. But it does just. It just stings, man. And what is that now? 6-15 in one-score games for Sam Pittman. And I don't know raw reaction. I don't know if there's anything that stands out to me from a coaching standpoint of why did they do this? Why did they do that? That was a bad idea, bad call, bad decision. But man, it's piling up on him. I hate it for him. I really do.
There's something to be said about just winning when the game is on the line, like showing up in those big moments and rising to the occasion. And in Arkansas, in so many ways, kind of did that throughout the game, but at the same time, they had many chances to put this game away. And I like what you said about being mad, where we kind of, as Razorback fans, shout out to our guy Heartbroken Hog, we kind of expect to be sad here and there. But man, I don't know if I expected to be angry, like you said.
I'm pissed. I mean, here's my thing. Is what the Sam Pittman teams are. They remind me of someone that you get out of rehab. All right, you're like, I'm changing. I'm gonna change, and they get out of rehab and they're doing good. They're doing good things, but then they still just have those same things that keep popping up, and then the end result ends up being the same, where you got to send them back to rehab for something else. That's what this makes this so frustrating. Is that they do the things. They're on the right path. They have it in them. They have it in them to be better, and they can't. That's what pisses me off more than anything is, again, I don't mind losing. No one likes it, but it's part of it. But for you to go out and perform like that in this place where you were the better team and you looked like that you have never played the game of football before with some of the stupid mistakes that you were making, the stupid moments, it's just it's absurd. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know if it's just a magic thing. But sorry, at the end of the day, the responsibility has to fall on Sam Pittman. And, I'm not saying, hey, fire him right now, but it's just a joke. It's an absolute joke seeing this team, once again, for the second year in a row, losing a one-score game on the road when you feel like they're better than what they show. They just do stupid stuff with stupid mistakes, and it just makes a mockery of what Razorback fans have been having to deal with in this Razorback football program for over a decade.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. We'll have plenty of these big picture conversations of how this is going to affect things moving forward. It's just hard not to look forward and think you let this one slip away, and how is that going to put pressure on the Auburn game, the Texas A&M game, some of these things we talked about going into the game here. It's really hard to have confidence that, hey, this team is going to rise to the occasion in those moments against those teams that, hey, yeah, we think Arkansas is probably as good, if not better than A&M. Auburn, we'll see how they look, how that works out. LSU seems somewhat beatable, but it's like, man, at some point you just got to rise to the occasion and win these games when you have a chance to win them. I mean, you said it's 6 and 15 in one-score games, man. It's really tough to swallow.
It's I'm going to be really interested to do a rewatch of this game and see what changed in the second half. Like if there were big schematic adjustments, like I don't know off the top what happened there, but it was just a completely different vibe right away. And momentum plays can do that for sure, but just to go from the domination of the first half to not even finding a way to lose the game, but just the way it all played out in the second half, it was almost like two completely different games. And I know that's why you play 4 quarters or overtimes or whatever the hell happened today. That's part of it, is, you know, playing a full 40 minutes on the basketball court, playing a full 60 or whatever in a football field. But man, they were just it was dominant in the first half, and it just fell apart in the second. I mean, Arkansas has things to work. That's the frustrating part about it, and nobody's going to want to hear about it, so we're not going to talk about it too much. But like, Taylon Green balled out. Like, I've been a doubter or unsure, but he's a baller, man, and like, he's got things to figure out. He can't take some of the sacks that he took, and his line's, you know, guilty on some of those things, and I thought they did a good job at times. Got to make some better decisions. Got to avoid those huge mistakes like the pick six. Got to get a little more accurate. He's only 58%, but he is a dynamic playmaker, and Jaquindon Jackson's one of the best backs in the SEC. He just is. Yeah. And hopefully he's okay, because he was like getting carried off the field a half dozen times.
5 or 6 times, yeah.
I mean, you've got Andrew Armstrong is an absolute stud. You've got dudes. But a lot of times you have dudes, and you got to put it together, and you got to be able to finish. And it's just Arkansas is not good enough to make some of the mistakes that were made and have some of the misplays that were made late in that game and in overtime to beat good teams. And Oklahoma State is a good team. They're not. I do not believe they're a top 20 team in the country, but they're a good team, a solid team, an experienced team. They were playing at home, and that won out at the end of this one. It's frustrating.
Curtis, how many times in the first half would I turn to you and I'd be like, man, 3rd and long, obvious passing situation, and Arkansas would rise to the occasion. They would make that big play. They would give Taylon time to protect. I know he took a pretty bad sack there on that first possession, and when you start to think about the plays that kind of swung this game, that was a big one. Arkansas's first possession, he takes a sack to take him out of field goal range. You have the awful interception, which seemed like he was hit on the throw. Inaccurate there. The dropped pitch play from Jaquindon Jackson. Yeah. But one that's people are going to, I'm sure, fixate on, the Xavier Sorey 15-yard penalty that in that first overtime period, I guess the second overtime period there, where it would have been 3rd and 12, but instead it's a 15-yard first down. The next play, Ollie Gordon scores his first touchdown. And by the way, speaking of Ollie Gordon, Arkansas had him in hell, man. That's what's crazy. There were so many variables that went Arkansas's way. Woo Pig always. That's right, man.
That's right. John's in a bad place, and I feel it, man. I feel it. But yeah, I mean, that's in a lot of ways you kind of draw up the script for Arkansas to win that game with Taylon Green balling out and Ollie Gordon not doing a damn thing, and Jaquindon Jackson, you know, just being the best back on the field. Yeah. In so many different areas. Like, if you had to write a checklist of, all right, you mark off these boxes, you're going to win the game. Arkansas did that, but it comes down to just they're just not good enough to make some of the mistakes that they made and get away with it, especially on the road against a solid team, man. It's
even when you have 650 yards of offense. And shout out to Alan Bowman, who, by the way, is not very good. Like, I thought Arkansas had a slight edge in the quarterback department coming into this game, but good Lord. I mean, Taylon is substantially better than that guy. But to Alan Bowman's credit, hung in there and made a lot of huge throws down the stretch, and that ended up kind of being the difference in the game. I mean, there was a lot of things that went on there. I don't want to give them too much credit, but it just seemed like when Oklahoma State needed a big play down the stretch, they got it. The 2-point conversions, you get both of them. I mean, the second one didn't really end up mattering. Their kicker misses the one, but he makes the one to give them the lead there. It's just there's so many ways in which it doesn't make sense. I mean, and this is going to be a game where if you just look at the box score and you're trying to figure out what happened, the turnover margin is going to say what it is, but good Lord, man, it's really tough to excuse this one. I don't know how to put it into words.
Yeah, Arkansas does have a bit of a fumbling problem that they're going to have to work on. I saw 4 there. Jaquindon had 2. I remember Satania muffed the punt. I don't know what the other one was.
Jaquinnon had the one that got overturned.
Oh yeah,
which was huge. There was a snap. There was a couple snaps that were a little shaky. One of which Taylor was able to pick up and throw away, but they tried. There was a lot. The ball was on the ground a lot. There was a lot of weird sloppiness going on. Both teams committed. I don't know what the final penalty tally was, but both teams committed penalties in massive spots there. It seemed like Danico Slaughter got called for like 7 pass interferences down the stretch.
Yes, he did. Yeah.
Arkansas secondary was kind of a big question mark coming into the game of like, hey, were they going to be able to line up against a receiving core like this? And so many times, especially in the first half, it was like, yeah, they can guard these guys. I felt like Arkansas's receivers were doing better in the first half.
Yeah, after that first drive where they kind of got dink and dunk down the field and they wound up getting the stop. It was very much a dominant performance through the rest of the first half for that defense. Yeah, they locked it down pretty good there, but then, wheels kind of fell off from there. So.
No Marquise Robinson, by the way. So, we're getting into the details of this game. No Marquise Robinson, which I don't think we expected.
Yeah, and Buddy, they were picking on Jaheim Singletary. I know he had the pick, and it was a big play, a big moment. But they were really, really going at him there. We saw Keon Stewart in for a while as well.
Yeah.
But they were picking on the right side of that field for sure.
Woo. I just, and it's weird because I don't look at this Arkansas team and I'm like, hey, there's no way back for them. Like, oh, they have all these things that are going to get in the way of them having a winning season or getting to a bowl game and stuff like that. And so, again, I don't want to look too much at the big picture here. And I can see Arkansas winning plenty of their games down the stretch, plenty of SEC games, plenty of teams that I think are beatable. But it's just, are we going to have that confidence in them to get it done when they go on the road and play some of these bigger name opponents? Like, are they going to rise to that occasion?
No. This is a dumb team. This is a very dumb team that does dumb things, and when they do dumb things, they're the most detrimental, like unreal, finding new ways to just do it at the worst times. It's almost like a movie. It's almost just like, you know what? Like I think I remember somebody when I played in high school football. It's like if there's a way to lose, they're going to find a way to do it. And then you feel like you slipped into the 7th circle of hell because you're sitting here once again and we're having the same conversations that I feel like we've had in previous years before. And also, it's unfortunate because I know we pointed out so much, but it's like you're better than this. You're better than this. You're better than what you show, but what you are is that you're like the kid in Good Will Hunting. Like you're a brilliant mind, but you're just stupid and immature because you don't know how to handle and harness that knowledge and talent and utilize it to your ability. You're just a dumb team, a dumb, frustrating, over-the-top, ridiculous team that I have zero faith in getting it done until they prove me otherwise.
It'd be a lot easier to just stomach Arkansas just wasn't good enough, and their DBs weren't good enough, or their O-line couldn't protect, or we've seen any type of storyline you can have after a loss. I don't really see any of those glaring holes. That's what is so much crazier about this, where it's like I don't look at these other SEC teams. I'm like, oh, they're going to attack this about Arkansas. Oh, they're going to shut down the run game. They're going to shut down Taylor Green. I don't know if Arkansas is going to be able to put it together consistently week in, week out.
Yeah, this team is better than they were a year ago, which 100%. Tells me that they're gonna be in most of the games that they play this season, which means that this is probably not the only time we're gonna feel like this after a football game. And they, hopefully they win some that they're not supposed to, or get over the hump in some of these one-score games. But we are probably going to feel this kind of heartbreak again. My hope is, and it's weird because I've been the pessimistic one the entire offseason and all through camp. But if I'm going to do the glass half full thing here with a little bit of optimism, my only hope is that because you do have so many new faces, and I know they're doing the same old thing so far. New coordinator, new system, everything else, that the further along you get, you clean up some of that nonsense. Because if this Arkansas team does play cleaner football, they are good enough to win enough games to get to a bowl and everything like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and guarantee it. I am promoting it now because we just keep seeing the same thing over and over, especially after this. Probably not as optimistic as you want to be, but you at least have that in the bag. If you're looking for something to hang on to, I guess you got two things. You play UAB at home next week, and you should be able to get a win just to feel a little bit better about it. You felt good about beating UAPB's ass, and you should feel good about beating UAB and getting back on the right side of things, and then just hoping that the talent that you have can come together and clean up some of this stuff, because it is a new group playing together for the first time. That's all I got.
And look, it is week 2 to where, this is going to go one of two ways. There's a little bit of a dark cloud now hanging over this team and really this program in a big picture standpoint. It's going to put a lot of pressure on that Auburn game when they go to Auburn, when they play A&M in Arlington, when they play LSU at home, Tennessee, who looks like they're going to be really damn good, there's going to be a lot of pressure. Will it cause this team to just pack it in and fold, which is what we've seen in some Razorback seasons? We really, frankly, haven't seen that under Sam Pittman. I will say, like, we've never seen a real time, other than games here and there, but we haven't seen them just mail in a full season other than firing their offensive coordinator last year. But even at that point, it's like you didn't feel like the team just, like, stopped trying until the last 2 games of the year. There's a lot of time left. Do we feel like this is it for this team, or do we feel like there's a path forward in any way?
Yeah, it is it for this team. Because if you're a team that you talk about, they didn't throw in the towel, and you're right, but they still freaking lost the games.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter if you don't win. Like, yeah, you can give all to Auburn and all your things to A&M. You can play Texas and only lose by field goal, but who cares if you still lose? That's my thing. Is like you're over this. You're over you're playing hard and you're there. Who cares? You're still losing. You played hard today. Great. You lost. And there's just you're not at the point where you can just be so forgiving anymore, because I think Razorback fans in general have just been stretched as thin as they possibly can, given the benefit of the doubt, and they're over. It's over. You cannot do this and continue to do this anymore. You just can't.
It's hard to sell a moral victory right now. For
it's
sure.
really tough,
especially and you can't even attempt to. When you have a game fully under control and it goes down the way this one did.
Yeah.
So
it'd be one thing if it was like a late comeback that fell short or something like that, where, you racked up a bunch of yardage. Arkansas, they shouldn't have been up by only 14 at halftime. I even tweeted my last tweet, because, it was tough service and all that. My last tweet said, hey, the game is not as close as the score indicates at halftime. And it wasn't like I was being dramatic or being a homer. It was, hey, I gained about 300 yards. You should be up like 31-0 in those situations most of the time, especially when they've only had like 3 first downs total. Like, it was wild. Their one score Arkansas gave right to them. And we kind of felt a weird vibe when he threw that pick 6. But then when, Isaac Taslav makes that big catch, Arkansas goes down there and scores to make it 21-7, you kind of felt like, hey, they're going to be fine. It's crazy because I really didn't see this coming, and I got to start being more on the lookout for this kind of crap, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's brutal. And again, folks, we apologize again for the technical issues that we had. But it does just kind of sum up this experience so far. So I'm sure we'll make it up to everybody with some lives and everything the rest of the weekend and into next week. But it's hey, like credit to Oklahoma State, because somebody had to win the game and they found a way to do it.
Yeah.
Fans, very nice. Like I know
almost
a lot
too
of Oklahoma
nice.
State fans, but. The whole deal about the atmosphere and how it's just so loud and everything, it really, I don't know, man. Like
it was all right.
It didn't strike. Maybe they are too nice. It wasn't that hostile of environment. But I will say is, as we stand out here, and if you look on the other side of this camera, it's the street outside of Eskimo Joes. There's a ton of people out here. A lot of Hog fans who are walking by. Woo pig always, which is nice.
Little glimmers of hope in their eyes.
But if I see the pistols firing thing at me one more time from an Oklahoma State fan, I'm going to lose it. Because we've had about 25 of them since we started doing this.
Alan Bowman did it in Pittman's face.
Yeah, Bowman did it at the bench. Now we got Oklahoma State fans doing it. But you know what? When you lose a game like this, you got to sit up here with a half smile on your face and kind of eat shit, which is what we're doing right now.
Especially when your live goes poorly like ours did.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
we can't say nothing.
Curtis, all week I felt like we were having to try and convince the Razorback fan base that Oklahoma State was a good team. So many people kind of dismissed them. I mean, we did the poll the other day. It was like 75% of Arkansas fans thought they were going to win this game. Some were just very dismissive, like, hey, Big 12 team, they stink. I'd love to do a victory lap and be like, see, guys, Oklahoma State's great. It's not even like that was the story of this game.
I mean, I picked Arkansas to lose a one-score game, but I'm not going to pat myself on the back. I actually want to apologize or say touche to the folks who were doing the whole SEC, versus Big 12 thing, and they're not as good as their record says they are, and all. Ollie Gordon's not all that because that offensive line's not that good. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, all those things were right. So I will give that to you guys. I do think that I don't think they're. Maybe as good as their ranking, and I thought Arkansas was the better team. They established dominance in the first half, and then they let it run down their leg there at the end and fell short.
Which again is just why this hurts as bad as it does, and why it's so damn frustrating. Thank you, sir.
I don't know what that is, but
it looks like beer.
Thank God.
We'll take that one. But
bless your soul.
Like any Oklahoma State fan.
Yeah. No, they took it. They confiscated it now.
That's a
no more
mean
beer
joke.
for us. No more beer for us. Yeah, that's a tough one. We can't have anything these days.
Sorry, I got to keep talking about this because, like, this is, like, I know that I'm a fan of the Razorbacks, and I always will be, and I'm not going to fight that and everything. But this is just so sickening to me. This is the type of stuff that it makes no sense. There's nothing. There's just like a quick fix where it's just like, oh yeah, easy. Because again, you guys looked at the numbers, you read them off, the stats. Like, if any of us would have been like, hey, that's the passing yardage. Hey, that's anything. Like, all of us would be like, this is a win going away. You held Gordon to the little yards per carry. Yeah, you might as well get those beers out because it's like shotgunning them, like sticking them up your butt. Whatever gets you drunker faster is what you need to do with this. So yeah, yes sir. Yeah, don't do that. He won't drink it enough. It's too manly for him. But anyways, like, but that's my thing is I'm just so fed up with having to do this again and again and again. And you're just such a better team than this. You're a better program than this. And here we are. Like, is there any feeling of confidence that this team's going to win any SEC game right now? Like, is there any game on this? I'm not saying they won't.
Here's the thing, John.
But what do you see?
They're too talented not to.
That's
what's crazy about
That's
this.
What's
they
so
really
stupid about the whole dadgum thing is that you are better than what you've showed, but it doesn't matter because if you want to go out there looking like Beavis and Butthead every dadgum game and not knowing where between your rear end and a hole in the ground, this is the type of results you're going to keep getting. So it's just like I'm just so angry at the fact that we are doing this again. I wanted to enjoy just for one dadgum month. Just give me the month of September to enjoy a football season for the very opening part. But instead, I'm here in Stillwater with beautiful weather with some really nice Oklahoma State fans that I'd rather kiss a toilet seat than have to deal with and seeing them smile because it's like, y'all didn't deserve to win this game either. This game sucked. Both teams sucked. And here we are.
Well, you know what I thought about, John? You remember all week when we see Oklahoma State fans that would be like, our Oklahoma State's viewing this as their chance to prove they can, beat, and they even said a mid to low tier SEC team. I hate to say it, but you did beat a mid to low tier SEC team because unfortunately that's still where Arkansas resides.
Yep.
Is in that middle lower tier, and it's tough to get over that hump. Like, there's nothing harder to do than to win and make that hump, especially in the SEC. And unfortunately today we were met with the realization that Arkansas is not quite there yet.
No, and they won't be. Like, what is this to believe that any point in time this year they're going to figure it out? Why? Like, I mean, they had it figured out. They were just morons.
Got the guns.
Like, they were just out all that. Again, how can you say with a straight face as an Oklahoma State fan? You're like, this was a great game and a great matchup between really great teams. I feel really great.
Well, they'll probably win the Big 12.
Yeah, well, I mean, winning's great, but jeez. I mean, they were doing everything they could to give you the game. The dude get the pistols on the sidelines. He got a personal foul when it was like, and just there, they were trying to do everything they could to give you the game. And what did you do? You blew your nose, you wiped your rear end, and you stuffed it on the ground. And you're like, hey, don't worry, we're still stupid, and we still don't know how to win dadgum games because we are a lower-tier SEC program, and we always will be unless things change. It's pathetic, it's stupid, and I'm done. I'm done with this.
For anyone who's listening to this Saturday afternoon and evening, I'm going to drive home because we're a little concerned about John taking it off a bridge. But we will get back safely, and the sun will rise tomorrow.
Well, I don't know.
That's about all I got, man. And we got to talk about this more. So.
Oh, yeah. We got plenty. Can't wait to get into that post-game report card. I'm sure you guys are dying to hear about that, of how we want to assess these Razorback position groups. And that's what's tough, Curtis. It's not like I can say, hey, quarterback F, running back F.
I know.
Damn good players, man. Arkansas fans should, like, borderline be proud of the team they have. Almost. That's what's crazy about this, is that, like, it's not like it's just a bad football team, which we've seen plenty of bad football teams in our days. That's not even what this is. I don't know what this is yet, but this season it's going to be an interesting one. I feel like every week is going to be a roller coaster like this one.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I really do think, looking at the schedule, with the exception of maybe a couple like Texas, they look really good.
They meet in Texas, I'll just tell y'all.
I hate to say it. There's enough weird-looking orange around here, so we don't need to talk about that too much. But for the most part,
beat this orange team, you ain't beating that one.
Yeah, Arkansas is going to be in a vast majority of the games that they play. And like I said, hopefully they get over the hump on a few, but we are going to feel this way again this year. It's almost a cold, hard blood bank guarantee at this point. That's too bad. I don't know. Do we get out here? Do we eat a cheese fry? Like, is that supposed to make us feel better? I don't know.
We sadly sit there and soak and just eat a cheese fry and drown our sorrows a little bit, and then awkward ride home.
Yeah, awkward ride home.
Hillary's probably going to leave me. This is going to be bad. This is
Yeah.
bad, dude.
Yeah, dog gets hit by a car. It's just like it's a tough scene.
You putting
Oh,
Slim
man.
on the chopping block? What the hell is that?
I
dude?
just
Whoa,
feel like that's where this is headed.
Whoa,
You know? Like,
whoa. Jeez.
Brutal. Well, I don't know. I really have no profound final thoughts here. I got nothing.
Imagine enjoying this team. Imagine being a Razorback fan. Like, imagine doing that for like your entire life and just getting boned every single time you can possibly just turn around. Everything goes wrong. Everything happens. I'd rather go 2-10 with Chad Morris than go 4-8 with a team that's actually good but just can't get it right. So annoying and it's done. I'm done. So yeah, let's end this. I'm done.
Great stuff. We will continue to cover this Arkansas Razorback football team and bring you the reactions, bring you the scoops, and experience this roller coaster of a journey. So for Curtis Wilkerson and John Neighbors, I'm Andrew Ellis, and we're out of here.